Proof of Lakers cheating versus the Miami Heat in NBA. It's the thing you never want to hear about a professional sports team. Cheating? Is it happening? To what degree? It doesn't really matter if it is happening in any capacity. It is no good. Were the Lakers cheating against the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals? What types of things were they doing on and off the court? Setting a precedent. You may have heard about this story and already forgotten about it, since it seems it was ages ago that it took place. But could this have been a tactical move by the Lakers? Before the final series, the Los Angeles Lakers were going to have to beat the Denver Nuggets in order to advance. The Nuggets were the comeback kids in the 2020 playoffs. They came back from down 3-1 against both the Utah Jazz and the Los Angeles Clippers. And though they were formidable opponents, the Lakers didn't seem to worry that they were going to have much problem with the young Nuggets. The Nuggets were going to have a lot of matchup problems against LeBron and Anthony Davis. Furthermore, there's a good chance when both those stars are in the game, there might also be another towering giant by the name of Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee. So, the Lakers seemed like the matchup was strongly in their favor. Many predicted the series would be over sooner rather than later, which is what made this move so interesting. During the series against the Nuggets, the Lakers wrote a strongly worded letter to the league. The letter was about how LeBron was not getting enough foul calls and there were not enough free throw attempts for the Lakers. If you love LeBron or hate LeBron, you know, not a game goes by where he doesn't have at least one occurrence of throwing his arms out in irritated fashion, screaming about where his foul call is. And though he may often be right, and though the Lakers may have been right in this case, it was an interesting move. The Lakers seem like they would easily win this series. Do they really need more free throw attempts? Are they really upset that LeBron isn't getting enough foul calls? But they were setting a precedent, and wisely setting it before the big stage of the finals. Now, the league is forced to go and look at tapes and see what the Lakers are talking about. And of course, the officials always miss some calls. It's impossible for them to get every call. But now, they have to be more careful and place a more scrutinizing eye on LeBron every time he drives to the basket. He started getting more foul calls against Denver. That's all good and fine. The Lakers won that series as everyone expected. But the league wasn't going to want another letter from the Lakers. You don't want to upset one of the league's most storied franchises, nor do you want to upset the player that is the face of the league. They were going to have to keep this up into the next series. They could not miss foul calls on LeBron. And as is always the case, since LeBron is a star, he was going to get all the calls that seemed like 50-50 situations. There were even some instances where he looked to be more of the instigator of contact, but he and the Lakers had set the precedent. Star versus non-star. Setting this precedent was important because the Lakers were going to face either the Miami Heat or the Boston Celtics in the finals. Both teams had stars, but not too many stars that were on par with LeBron. It ended up being the Heat, who does have Jimmy Butler and is on par with LeBron's superstardom in some ways. But that's it. The rest of the Heat group are largely non-stars. Bam Adebayo will become a bigger and bigger star as the years go on, but he's still quite young. LeBron concerned himself less with the likes of Butler and Bam and more with the other non-stars. It was very clear that LeBron was aware when a non-star was guarding him. Like, if Jay Crowder was guarding him as he drove to the basket, LeBron was very good about clearing space, which is also a nice way of saying elbowing Jay Crowder in the face while heading to the hoop. Subsequently, there was contact and a foul was called on, you guessed right, Crowder. A call that should be an offensive foul if all things are considered equal, but a call that ends up being a defensive foul because all things are not equal. It is King James moving along the chessboard and he is matched up against Crowder, a rook at best. The NBA doesn't want to upset LeBron again, and LeBron knew this. Not only does LeBron get free throws when he does this, he also gives a foul to a player on the other team. When it's a player like Crowder, an excellent defender who guards LeBron a heavy amount, it's a huge blow to the Heat as he can get in foul trouble much sooner. Plays like that make a big difference as it should be a foul on LeBron and possible shots for Crowder. And instead, you get the exact opposite. A swing and points and fouls exchanged. Did LeBron do this to only Crowder? That's laughable. LeBron tossed Tyler Hero to the ground with an extended arm on a drive to the basket. He ran Duncan Robinson over so many times, Robinson looked like he was doing trust falls without a spotter on the court. And what's the league going to do? Call fouls on LeBron? Maybe if LeBron was going up against Butler, they would. But the likes of Crowder, Robinson, and Hero? The narrative exists that LeBron can almost never be stopped. The NBA wouldn't let you think that any of those non-stars could stop LeBron on any given play. Not unless they want another strongly worded letter on that professional Lakers stationery. 2 top 5 players. Here's something that got set in motion a long time ago, and it still has a lot of people giving the side eye to the Lakers organization. Almost anyone following the NBA puts LeBron and AD in their top 5 active players, and the Lakers have them both. No other team has a duo in the top 5. You'd be hard-pressed to make an argument that another team even has 2 of the top 10 players. Maybe the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Maybe the Rockets with James Harden and Russell Westbrook. But even if you can make that argument, neither team is a combination of 2 top 5 players. That simply does not happen in the NBA. Not since the Lakers did it with Shaq and Kobe. We're starting to notice a pattern here. But the NBA is supposed to be more balanced. There are 30 teams in the league. Top 5 players, top 10 players, all-stars, they should be more evenly spread out. Not every team will get an all-star from each year, but with 24 all-stars being selected each year, they can be distributed a little more fairly. And top 10 and top 5 players should definitely be distributed more fairly. It was all good and fine when LeBron was on the Lakers as the only all-star and Anthony Davis was on the New Orleans Pelicans as the only all-star. Nothing unfair about that, but we all know what happened with Anthony Davis in New Orleans. He grew tired of his team not doing good enough and decided he wasn't going to play there anymore. There were quote-unquote injuries that no one was quite sure what their nature was. Lots of days of rest and load management. Anthony Davis was putting the organization in a tough spot. Trade me or I'm leaving you and you're getting nothing in return. And behind closed doors, of course there were lots of talks with Anthony Davis and LeBron and other members of the Lakers organization. It was all a plan to get Anthony Davis to pair up with LeBron, to put 2 top 5 players together and be unstoppable. Because again, that had never happened since Shaq and Kobe. And we all know that led to multiple championships. To force the Pelicans into that situation was looked at extremely negatively by a lot of fans and players around the league. Should teams even be allowed to do this? Are there not tampering fines for instances such as this? There are rules and regulations in place for a reason, but the Lakers managed to go around the rules, go behind back doors, and figure something out so they could load up their roster with 2 elite-level talents. 2 elite-level talents that were not drafted to that team. It's one thing when an organization is lucky enough to draft 2 amazing players that become all-stars and progress in their games and prove amazing capabilities. Like in Boston, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both looked like they could be monsters in Eastern Conference someday. Neither player decided to team up with the other. They were both drafted, seen for their potential, and have continually worked to exceed their potential. In LA, you have the opposite situations. 2 stars drafted by different cities and pairing up together in this sunny, beautiful city where all the movie stars live. And that's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. The Dion Waiters acquisition. You may be thinking, what does Dion Waiters have to do with all of this? I don't think I even saw that guy step on the court in the finals. Wasn't he on the sidelines wearing crisp new t-shirts and designer jeans the entire time? And you'd basically be correct about all of that. Waiters did provide some needed scoring and creating off the bench in some games in the bubble. But he wasn't what you could call an on-court contributor in the finals. Where did he contribute? It's interesting to think about some of these late-season pickups that teams make. Organizations are smart. They know the strengths and weaknesses of other teams to a certain extent. A lot of times, the smartest organizations know that if they make the finals, they are already certain who they will be facing. They have an excellent idea of who their opponent will be. Could the Lakers have been able to see through all of the favorites on the East Coast of the Bucks, the Raptors, and the Celtics? Could they have known that most likely the Heat would be their opponent in the finals? If so, obtaining Waiters was a smart move. Waiters, who had been playing for Miami in that very same year, traded in his black and reds for some purple and golds. He became a Laker, and could he have insight as to what the Heat's typical game plans could consist of? Of course he could. It's like bringing in a soldier from another army and using their expertise to your advantage. Like having a spy on the inside who comes back to you and reports to you. Why didn't Waiters play in the finals? Was he busy giving advice on the sideline about certain Heat strategies and lineups? Certain plays that Miami is fond of running in certain situations? He wasn't there to give fashion advice, though if any Lakers wanted some, all they had to do was look to Waiters' threads. But you can never put an idea like that past a team that will do anything to win. For instance, strongly persuading a top 5 player in Anthony Davis behind closed doors to push his team to trade him. Perhaps that very same team would also want to obtain a player from an opposing team just for his knowledge of the team's inner workings. Final thoughts. Thanks for watching another Up Next Sports video. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you think we left out any other strategies the Lakers used in the finals, comment and let us know. And be sure to join us for the next video.